Hi everybody, it's Carla here, and I started thinking about the demo that I was going to be doing on making these crocheted hand warmers, freeform crochet hand wrist warmers with the thick and thin yarn. And I thought I would try to go ahead and do a little pre-recording too and see what happens. It takes, I think it's about 45 minutes or so to make one of these. And they're not very hard. If you have just a basic crochet skill, then you should be okay. What I do when I work on these, what I'm going to start with first is making the actual wrist part that goes here. So I'll chain, I think I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think maybe I did 9 here on this one, but this yarn that I'm going to be working with today is a little bit bigger. I spun it a little bit thicker, so I think I'm only going to do like maybe 7 because I'm going to have it, I only want it about this big on my wrist. And so disclaimer too, I was dyeing today, so my fingernails are not dirty. They have a little bit of dye on them. And I sound a little funny because after I did my demo last week on Tuesday, I thought I was just tired, but turns out I was actually sick. I ended up getting sick. So I'm kind of pulling through though. But the way I work on the wrist warmers, and this is a great project for leftover bits of yarn too. It doesn't take a lot of yarn to make these. And so what I do first is that wrist part, and then I'm going to turn it, and then we'll be working in the round, going up until we get to the point where the thumb hole is going to be, and then we'll be working in the round again, and then you'll finish it off with a single crochet. So I believe I used the J hook on this, and that's what I'm going to use for this one as well. It's aside from going onto the bigger, let me get this right here, onto a way bigger hook, then this is what's going to work. So let's see here. Please bear with me. I've never done filmed overhead like this before, but we'll see how it works. I may end up doing this live tomorrow, but if you're seeing this, it's because I ended up doing it this way. So when you start, of course, your first crochet, get it on your hook, and then we are now, like I said, we're going to be crocheting this part here for the wrist. So I think I will do maybe just 7, 2, 3, and I'm doing this really loose too because I've got such thick parts of the thick and thin. So we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's probably gonna be fine. Okay, so you just do 7 single crochets, and then these are double crochets, so we're gonna do 2 crochets, and then go back down into the base here. Pull it up and do your double crochets. Let me make this a little bit taller. See if that's more helpful. Okay, and then we're going to work into this next hole here. Getting started is kind of the hardest part. Do your double crochet, and again, what's really nice about crochet is that it is forgiving, and especially working with this thick and thin yarn, you're going to have, lumpy bumpies, and so it's going to be extra forgiving too. So not a problem. So we'll work on another double crochet. So we get our base here, and I think that's only, let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to do one more in this very little tiny spot. I'm going to open this up some, so it'll be easier to get it in there. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of effort here. Gosh darn it, you little booger. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's our length, which is right here. So, and if I put that on my wrist, that's going to be about right. So then what we want to do, in order to get these little ridges, what you want to do is a crochet into the front loop only. So you'll do your double crochet and turn. And instead of going in through here, you're going to go in through the top. Okay, so you're going to go over, bring it through, there you go, double crochet, and I can't stress that enough, keep your yarn, work with it really loose. So do some very loose crochets. If your yarn's thick like mine. If it's not as thick, then of course you can do it smaller, or tighter, I mean, with more tension. We're going to get down to the last one here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do 2 more crochets and turn. And so you don't see it here, but you see the ridge on that side. So we're going down into that back, into that back part of the crochet. I'm going to do a double. Trying to watch my hands and the recording at the same time. But you're going to do this until it is wide enough to go around your wrist. Sorry, my dog is over there scratching himself, so you might hear that in the background as well. I was going to have a program on or some music, but then I realized that Facebook would possibly mute this if that was the case. And then get in that last one there, which is a little booger. Whoops. Okay. At the end of your row, crochet 2 and turn. And then go back into that same stitch. Lilo. Getting more slack here. And 4, 5, 6, and 7. So then I think we're probably almost halfway. Actually, this is going to go really fast because the yarn is so thick. So it, you know, it's lumpy and bumpy, but that is because we're using a lumpy bumpy yarn, right? Okay, I am back. Had a little sneezy episode, so it's probably a good thing that I am doing this pre-recorded for you guys. So I think I've got this about the right size to go around my wrist. Do a little measurement here. And it looks like that's going to fit right by the time I add those in together. I can measure it. It's right around 7 inches. So that sounds about right for me. And so when you end it, to join it, what I do is I'm going to just bring the top up here. Actually, this was the end, my first part of the yarn. I'm going to cut this and make this shorter. There we go. So then what I do, bring these up together, and I'm going to find my end somewhere around here, I believe. I'm going to stick my hook in there. I think I'm going to go right about there. So I'll take the yarn, grab it, I'm going to pull it through and join it. So then what I want to do is kind of work a crochet. I'm going to work it on the top here, so it's going to give it a ridge like I have here. So I'll crochet 1, and then I'm going to go back through the top here and here. So if you're a crocheter, you know what, and you freeform crochet, you know what I mean. You kind of just find a place that looks like where the hook will go. So I'm going to go here and here and bring it up, and then I'll go there. Really, my favorite thing about crochet is that, I mean, I guess there are rules. The way I do it, there's no rules. So we'll go through here. So you're kind of just stitching it there. And you do want to work it kind of loose. And we're getting near the end. We were working about 7 stitches, so you could count and see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you've done 7, I haven't really done 7, so let's find a little area here to go into. And let's do it there. Maybe back into the same hole. Go in through here, and we'll join it. So, all right. So now I have my wrist part. So this is what it looks like on this side. You can flip it, and my work always looks neater on that side. So honestly, what I'll do, or what I might do then, is I can start and work just around like that here, but I might possibly turn it inside out if I like the way this side looks better. But let's see if it's going to fit my wrist. It's got some stretch, so I think we're going to be okay. And you want it snug. You don't want it too loose, because this is, with it being, this is a merino bamboo, and so it's going to stretch a little bit. So there we go. If you wanted just a cuff, you could have just a cuff, which is kind of cool. But what we're going to do, the next step is that we've joined this, we're going to do single crochets around here, balance them, add them in all the way around, one row of single crochets, and then we'll go back and we're going to start our doubles right here. Depending on how high the doubles are for you, based on the width of the yarn, the size of the yarn that you're doing. I did just 2, so I'm pretty sure I'm only going to have to do 2 rows of those. So I'll do my first row and do the second one, and then we'll leave that gap for the thumb hole. I mean, you know, if you didn't want to do that, I suppose you could just make this one long tube, and you could just, with it being a thick and thin, we've got lots of gaps in here that you could probably push your thumb through. But I like this because I like to have that more freedom here around the thumb. So let's do some singles. Pull that through, and you kind of just have to guess here. That's the thing. There's no real basic science. I'm sure somebody would argue and say that there is when it comes to crochet, but I want to add in just enough. I want to give it a good base to work off of. And so I'm just going to try to work evenly around with my singles. And again, we're not working with a, we're working with a thick and thin with an art style type yarn. And so you have to have a little bit of, you got to be willing to cheat a little bit when it comes to placing your stitches here. So I'm just finding spots like, oh, that's a hole right there. That's a good spot to put it in. This hole's pretty big, and I want to kind of, I'm going to do 2 of them because it's pretty wide. Then I'm going to do another one here and here, here. And that looks like, I don't know if I need to add one more here, if I need to join it. So I'm going to try it on again. So when you're doing freeform crochet, it's something that you definitely want to try on. So I think I'm actually going to add one more because I don't want this to feel constricted. So going to do one more single here. And then I am going to join right here. Okay. So there we go, our cuff with our singles. And now we're going to work a row of double crochets into each of our singles, and we're going to not work in the little V that you normally work in when you're doing crochet. We're going to work into the top, so it'll give us a little bit of a ridge around here. Now you don't have to do it that way. If you want to work underneath the stitch, you can do that too. It's just, this is just the way that I do it because I like that little bit of the ridge. And then this way, it actually kind of makes it a little bit looser of a stitch. Lido, stop it. Don't do that. They could probably hear you. So a single, you're not single, I'm sorry, double crochets. My mom said she wanted a pair of these. So I don't know if if this is the right color choice for her or not. So I will probably spin up some more neutral yarns and make her a pair. But it's probably nice to, I like having the finger part free so you can still use your phone or move around, have that tactile ability to feel what you're, what you're doing. I'm not big on gloves, full finger gloves. I don't know. I have a hard time with those. Driving, I'm okay with them, but all right. So we're back here again with our, at the beginning of that row. So I'm going to join it. Do 2. I'm going to work one more row and try it on and then see where I'm at. So Okay, so I've worked my second row of double crochets. So did my wrist, done 2 rows, and once I get here, it's always important to try this on. So try it on again. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and join it, so we'll be good there. And then we're going to work on leaving space for our thumb. So here we go. Let's join this. Get in there. Okay. So far so good. Now we want to leave the space for the thumb. So 3, 4, 5, 6. So what I do, usually crocheting about 6 spaces, 6 or 7 spaces works. So what I do then, instead of starting with a double crochet, what I want to do is crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the idea is that this is going to be here, and this is going to, go over the thumb. Is that right? Yeah, so the thumb's going to go in here. So we want to make sure that there's enough. I think I did 7. Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, maybe it was only 5. Okay, we're doing 6. I think that'll be enough. So then what you want to do is you want to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what I had done, was skipped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So got my single crochets here, and I'm going to start in number 6. So pull these through. Okay, so see, you got that thumb hole there. And this will tighten up. So then we're going to go and do a round. We're going to go all the way around, and then I'll show you how you finish that up. Remember, we're still working in the top back loop. Now, if you're making these as a gift for someone, I mean, it wouldn't be too hard to tell hand size, I don't think, for women. If you just made some that fit yourself, if you're, you could do that. And for kids, you would want to make it a little bit smaller. I think you could probably look up measurements for gloves, or kind of like how you look up, average hat sizes, that type of thing. So just going to work this around, coming back. Okay, so now we're back where this hole is, right? So we want to keep going. I had to do one more here. Gonna have to muscle it a little bit. There we go. That's the only tough thing, is working with thick and thin. It gets a little hard sometimes when it gets in the thin areas. Okay, so then what I want to do is make this be kind of like the last crochet, the last double. Well, I'm going to join here. So let's try it on though and see. Oh, perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I might put one more double here because I want to have room for my thumb, and then I'm going to join it right here, and then that is essentially that row. So let's do that real quick so we can get a good visual on that. Yeah, there's one more. So we're going to work it right here. There we go. And then I'm going to bring this up 1, 2 stitches, and I'm going to join it right, I think right there. So we'll join it. Ta-da! There's your gap, your hole for your thumb. So after that, the space for your thumb, you can work another 2 or 3 more rows of the double crochet. And the way you do that, because we kind of have this chain here, so let's do 1 and 2. So I'm going to work 1 right back into that same stitch. And you can work it into, if you can see these stitches, you can work into them like that, or you can work into the big space too. I think that I would rather, if I can see and get into the chains that are here, I'll work in those. I think it just ends up looking a little bit neater in the end. Otherwise, you've got loops that are going through there. So we'll do 1 more, because, oh shoot, look what I did. I was trying to pull that out. Okay, not a problem. Let's fix it. Let me get this back through here. Doink, doink, doink. Okay, not a problem. Just as if I was trying to pull that kinky curl out. I don't know why. So I pulled it pretty tight. So I'm going to pull as if I was adding another thread. So I'm going to do that. Game's not over. It's still possible. Okay, and we're going to go here. Now, when I'm adding another one, what I'm going to do is just do a quick tie here, just so I know. And I'm going to stick that down in there. So when I go to weave my ends in, I'll be able to secure that better. Okay, let's go. I don't need to try to pull those kinky parts out. Just going to let them be and do their business. It has been a long day here for me. I got a lot done, dyed a lot of yarn, wool for the sale towards the end of the month, and took care of our set of puppies that we have that are now 5 weeks old. So I had just got their worming medicine, and I wormed them and the mom. And they don't look too they don't look too happy. I think it must have given them a bellyache. Actually, the puppies look okay. Mom's kind of acting like she's got a bellyache. So keep working your double crochets around. And if you don't like the look of the thick and thin, if it's too lumpy bumpy or artsy fartsy for you, you can do the same thing here with a regular, even just a commercial yarn. You don't have to use a thick and thin. You can use any yarn, any weight. You just adjust your stitches to it. And here we go. Yeah, that looks a little wide. So this is going to be the thumb slot here. I'll turn it that way. But time to try it on again. Perfect. We just had thicker stitches there. And I do have a spot to put 2 more stitches, but because it's on a little on the big, getting bigger, I'm going to go ahead and join it right here. So you won't even see that one of those spots got skipped. But like I said, that's what I like about Freeform. So let's bring it here, and we're going to join. Okay, I am back. So let me pull this out. I just joined on my last round. And then tried them on again. And they are smooth and squishy and soft. So these, you can see that these look larger than these because the thick and thin on here is smaller. These were pretty big, but I like that. It's funny, I think these two skeins of yarn were from the same dye pot because it's really, really similar, the colors. So what I'm going to do after that then to finish these off, I am going to just do a quick single crochet around the top just to trim it off. Just go in and do your singles around the top, and then I will probably go along the bottom and then do singles around there too, like such. And I don't think I did it on this one. It kind of has a little wavy, but I think I'll do it on this one. And then I'll just do singles around. So I do one, and then just a little like that, just to give it. And this one I would be going through the V. I'm not going through the top. I want to go through here, through underneath, just so it gives it a nice clean look. Sort of clean. We're working with lumpy bumpy yarn, so it's not going to be super clean. And it kind of snugs it up a bit too. So if it ends up that it's a little loose on that last one, this will snug it up. But see, gives it that nice little braid. So then that's it. Basically, you work your way around, cut it, tie it off, weave in your ends, and you're all good to go. You've got yourself one wrist warmer, and you only have one more to go. So all you have to do is just remember how many stitches you started off with when you did your wrist. When you worked from here to here, and we did we do 7, I think? But the nice thing is once you've made one, then you just hold your other one next to it too, and you can compare the two. So like I said, there's no stitch count when you're doing it this way, but you could write down your stitches when you make your own though. So each person's might be a little different. And I think we are here. So here we go. This is going to be the last of it. Joining those, cutting that off. I'm going to go ahead and pull that through, but not too tight because I don't want to tear it like I did before. And I'm going to put this on. And it feels great. And see, that just kind of trimmed it up nice there. I'll stick that in there, weave it in. You could also go around if you wanted and do a single crochet around here to make it look a little neater around the thumb. Do it here on the wrist as well, but that's up to you. So anyhow, okay, well, thank you all for joining me. Like I said, I will probably end up posting this video tomorrow. Just because I've still kind of got a cold and I did have a little sneeze attacks in between the little filming here. So if you have any questions, let me know, comment below, and I will come back and take a peek and answer them the best that I can. And then I plan on being live again next Tuesday, actually every Tuesday at noon Pacific Standard Time. And I think next week, there was a lot of interest last week on doing some plying with the thick and thins, and so I think I'll spin up some thick and thins over the week, and then come back and do some plying and show you how you can ply that with some rayon thread, how you can do some coils, that sort of thing, and just kind of have fun with art yarn again. So, all right, I wish you guys all a great week. Stay healthy, stay happy, and have fun. Okay, bye.